Today, we're going to be showing you how to DIY your own Nugget, times 2, using one king-size foam mattress. Now, if you haven't heard of a Nugget, it's a super popular kids toy right now, spanning all age ranges. And while it's really versatile in its use, it can be a fort, a tumbling mat, a lounge spot. It's actually really simplistic in its construction, i.e. it's foam with a fancy cover. Now, like I was saying, it's super popular right now, so they're very hard to come by. And that's had a lot of people turning to DIY to get one. A lot of people are ordering directly from foam companies the size pieces that they need. However, this ends up being pretty expensive. It's actually more expensive than buying a Nugget itself. So instead, we're going to show you how to DIY your own using a foam king-size mattress. And you actually get 2, which is better than 1, and save yourself money in the process.
And it just so happens that a king-size mattress is the perfect dimension to be able to get 2 of the Nuggets. So those dimensions are going to be up here on the screen, flashing right here, and you're also going to be able to find them on our blog. So we got the mattress here a couple days ago, we unboxed it, and we let it expand for a couple days just so we could get to the full 8 inches that we needed to. So we're going to start our project right now. The first step is going to be taking this cover off the mattress, marking our cuts directly onto the foam, and then taking this handy dandy turkey carver right here and cutting directly onto the foam.
Dimensions drawn up, so now it's time to cut.
Okay, on to the next step. In order to get the correct dimensions of the Nugget, we're going to have to cut each piece of foam at 5 inches and 3 inches in the middle. In order to do that, we're going to use a jig. And I'm going to make that jig, and I'm going to show you how to do it as well. So let's get started. Okay, I'm done making the jig now. It was really pretty easy to make. It just consists of a 2x4 and a 1x2 and a 1/8 inch piece of flat steel. So really easy materials, and I just screwed it all together with some pocket screws. But if you don't have a pocket screw jig, you can definitely just screw in from the sides on all these joints that I did, and that will be just fine. So the goal was to get 5 inches down here from this 1x2 to the top of this flat steel piece. And if I measure it, it is where I need it to be. And then the remainder of the foam will be the 3 inches at the top. So that's perfect. I had these 2 tail pieces right here so that when we're pushing the foam through, that the foam is a constant height all the way through. So a really easy jig to make, and it's going to make cutting the foam on a straight edge perfect. So we're going to show you now how to actually make this work.
Okay, now it's time to make the triangles. So we all know that triangles have 3 sides. And we have 3 of these 21.5 inch by 14 inch foam blocks. So each of the blocks is going to be one of the sides of the triangle. And we need to have 4 triangles. So we're going to need to split these blocks into fourths. With the 8 inch depth, that means we're going to do 4 2-inch sections. So I've gone ahead and drawn out the level lines here to cut that. And the end product that we're going to be working towards is this triangle right here. Now, let's cut. Okay, now to glue the sides of the triangle together using some handy dandy spray adhesive. So what I'm going to do is spray all the angled sides really well with this spray adhesive. And then I'm going to stick them on each other like so. Okay, make sure they line up. Taking the bag with me. And there you go. Now I'm going to let this dry before moving on to the inside triangle. Okay, now we've got all the foam pieces put together and we're going to move on to the cover. We recommend getting the cover straight from Nugget. They are $100 and you could sew your own, but the amount of fabric involved, you're going to end up spending about the same amount and it's going to be a lot of work. Now the key to stuffing these large and thin squares is that you want to stuff it with the flat side, the side you didn't cut, facing upwards where the handle is at. That's because if you're doing any sort of ramps or V-shaped builds, then at least the outside part there is going to be the perfect side and the imperfect side will be on the bottom. Okay, let's stuff all the pieces. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching our Nugget DIY. I just wanted to take a moment to do a little recap with you all and talk about some lessons learned. You're going to see linked in our show notes a link to a particular mattress that we recommend using if you're going to go this route. So we picked up our mattress off Facebook Marketplace, but I really recommend using this mattress that I'm going to link because of its makeup. So it's an 8-inch foam mattress just like we used, but there's 5 inches of base foam and then 3 inches of top foam. Ours was just one solid piece of foam, which meant that we had to use the guide that Brad showed you how to build to split the piece down the middle with no other way of really knowing if we were straight or not. But this mattress being split 5 and 3, you already have that guide. And really, you probably don't even need to cut it. You can just slowly peel the 2 pieces apart and end up with your thick and thin pieces. And that would greatly increase the quality of your build. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the electric carver. I recommend getting one if you don't already have one. If you have one, use what you have. But if you have to get one, I would suggest getting one with the longest blade you can find. I learned this when I was working on the triangles and realized how easy it was to cut because I could see both ends of the knife and make sure they were lined up the whole way across. When Brad made the initial cuts in the large foam, if he had had a knife that was long enough, he could have lined up both sides to make sure that that cut was completely even. The last thing I want to talk about was the triangles. I think that there's a little shortcoming in them, and I highly recommend, and we're going to do this, is buying a 1-inch piece of foam. There's like a twin mattress topper that you can get at Walmart for $10, and wrapping the whole thing using the same spray adhesive just to try to fill out the triangle a little bit more. But other than that, I think it's a great build if you don't have a way to get your hands on a nugget right now, or you want to try to make your own for a little bit less. I'd highly recommend giving this a try.